Psyched to be coming at you with another episode of In the Know. Today we're going to be talking to Keven Ward, who is one of the top real estate agent trainers in the business. He's also a best-selling author of the book of Yes, which if you haven't read it yet is a must-read for anyone in real estate. And I'm really excited. We're going to be jumping into all sorts of different things on different ways that you can grow your business. Sitting here today with Keven Ward, master real estate trainer, all-around great guy. I've got our very high-tech notepad full of questions that I want to get through. We're going to dive into some really great information today about how you can grow your real estate business, things that are working now, and just jumping right into the nuts and bolts of things. So, Keven, you've been in the business 18 years now, and
yeah, I started back in the 1900s.
Back in the 1900s,
right.
So it's definitely been a long time. And you were telling me that after your third year in the business, you started already selling over 100 homes a year.
Yeah, so I started in '98. In 2000, I sold 108 homes, and it was. People ask how I did it. Mostly was fear. When I started real estate, I just had no background in sales. I had no personal circle, and I had no money. So I had to do this.
Talk to us about that, because I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, where they might be experiencing some challenges right now. They might be looking for that breakthrough in their business, and you obviously had one of those in a major way. Can you kind of walk us through how that went down?
Yeah, when I first started selling real estate, I grew up. I grew up in a mobile home. Started coming from very humble beginnings. Started real estate. Before real estate, the only sales training I ever had was I worked at Burger King when I was going to college, and that was it. And then I decided to sell real estate. I never lived in a town bigger than 12,000 people except when I was in college, and so I moved to Dallas-Fort Worth in Texas on a Sunday, and Monday I went to my first day of real estate. I got my license on weekends for a few months, and Dan Galt, my first trainer, said, "You need to go knock on their door. You'll be better if you knock on their door."
Okay.
And so my very first door I ever knocked, I never got to the door. As soon as I stepped up on the porch, I heard a guy through the screen door. He said, "Are you a realtor?" Just the top of his lungs, and I'm like, you have no memory what happened next. I'm like, I probably said yes, and he said, "Get the blank off my porch." And that was it.
And that was your introduction to
door knocking.
Door knocking.
So I was so traumatized, I literally would not knock another door for over a year, probably 2 years. I just prospected on the phone.
So
I couldn't handle the rejection.
So hold on, let's go back to that for a second, because I think that rejection is what stops a lot of people from prospecting, from door knocking, from going out there and generating, leads and business every day. So having an experience like that right out the gate, I feel like everyone has that in their mind of, if I go door knocking, that's how it's going to be. I'm going to get the door slammed in my face. I'm going to get, the barking dogs that I'm going to have to give the Heisman to, and different stuff like that. So having that experience like right out the gate, what shifted to give you the confidence, A, to go back out there, and B, to get the results?
Well, to go back out there was desperation. I had no saving. I had no money. I was all in with real estate. Calling is less painful than door knocking. And the reality was, when I went back to door knocking a couple years later, I've never, since that one experience, I've never had anybody treat me that way. Ever since. So people are, if you're nice and friendly and not a jerk, and if somebody didn't want to talk to you, then I'm cool with that. My whole approach to real estate was I only want to dance with people that want to dance with me. I think there's no telling how many tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars I lost over a 2-year period because I was afraid to door knock. Because the fear is worse than the reality. Okay. And when I figured this out,
here's the secret.
And when I figured this out, I looked around, I'm like, nobody's teaching this. And I've been in real estate now for nearly 20 years, and I've still heard nobody teach this. Remember the movie What Women Want? Who's that guy? I can't remember his name.
I don't know. We'll Google it and we'll put it in the show notes.
Anyway, What Women Want, this guy was a women's advertising executive, and he was horrible at it because he thought he was so Mr. Cool, and he couldn't connect with women. And then he had this freak accident where all of a sudden women, he could hear what women were thinking. And at first he's freaking out over that because he thought they all were crushing on him and they were all disgusted by him. But he finally figured out, if I just listen to what they're saying, I know what they want. And I'm like, that's what I think I did with the Managed Expires, is I realized if I'll focus on what they want and not focus on what I want, so all my conversation then became, what is it that they want rather than what I want. So I stopped talking about listing their home with me, about me showing them what I can do to sell their home. Everything
about your stats and how great you are.
Everything we talk about. So think of the words we use. List your home with me. To them, listing their home is kind of like me going to the dentist and him saying, hey, would you like to wear braces for 2 years? Real estate agents, people look at us the way we look at a dentist. And that is, nobody wants a dentist. Nobody wants a realtor.
Yeah.
They want,
They want their home sold.
Yeah.
And I also want to talk a little bit about the recent book that you wrote, The Book of Yes,
Yep.
which is a #1 seller in the real estate space, and how you've been able to leverage that to kind of further your, not agenda for lack of a better word, but your cause.
Okay, so I love the book's called The Book of Yes. It's actually 2/3 of the book is scripts, which we all love, right?
Love
Real estate,
scripts.
it was like, I just remember the resistance that I had to scripts when I first got them, and I'm like, but I was teachable, so they said you got to use them, so I'm like, okay, I'll use them. And so there were two things I hated about real estate. Number one, I hated the rejection, but the other thing I did not like about real estate was what I consider to be the BS, and that was the BS in scripts, where I felt like, calling a for sale banner and say, hey, I'd like to come by and see if I have a buyer for your house type of stuff. To me, it's just like, you don't have a buyer for their house, so you're totally, BSing there. And I go, so why do I have to say that? And the trainer said, well, you got to get your foot in the door. And I'm like, yeah, but if I want to get my foot in the door, I want to go the high ground, not through the sewer lines to get to the foot in the door. It was just like, I didn't like the BS. The Book of Yes is literally what came out of, one, me hating to get no's. So how do I inspire people to say yes to me, and to do it without the BS? And so my belief is, and part of my claim is, that you can get yes without the BS. So you're asking about, we were talking about closing lines.
Yes.
So a couple things on closing lines. One is, I don't like closing. Because close the deal, close the sale. It's
Always be closing.
Yeah, ABC, always be closing, which by the way came from Glenn Ross. And the guy was an absolute jerk. And when it came, you remember?
I remember.
So when it came out, everybody's going like, "You got to go see it if you want to learn to be a good sale, be a great salesperson. You want to be you got to be a hard closer. Go watch Glenn Ross." And I'm watching it. And I'm sitting there going like, "That guy is a jerk." I mean, this movie is like the perfect. If you want to be in sales, this is the perfect guy not to be, because he was an absolute. I can't even say what he was. So, but you can think of several words. Words have energy. And I do this with real estate agents all the time. I said, whenever you think of the word close, is that just closed? How many of you like to be closed on? Positive energy, negative energy. And everybody goes, on negative energy. What is the words that you associate with close? And I'm not talking about closing the transaction at the escrow. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the word close the sale. And I'm like, okay, let's just eliminate the word close, because I don't like the energy. And I'm like, instead of closing this sale, how about we open a relationship?
I like that. So you're reframing the process.
You're reframing what you're doing. Yeah. Open the relationship, and what I teach agents is, instead of closing for the sale, is inspire the hire. Because nobody likes to be closed on, but who likes to be inspired?
Everybody.
And it's when I inspire someone to want to work with me, there's no resistance.
It's really the approach that you're bringing that's a lot more in their corner, as opposed to
Absolutely.
just pounding the sale and the always be closing. I love the language patterns of just being on their side. We're on the same team here. Give me the closing line again. What was the closing line again?
So do you have any questions before you're ready to let me help you make this move happen and get into your new home?
Get into your new home.
And it's all embedded commands. For those of you guys who ever studied neuro-linguistic programming, but most NLP training in the real estate industry is horrible. They train mechanics. And it would be like a ballerina trying to teach baseball. You've got to use it correctly, like an embedded command. An embedded command can come across as very threatening, which causes resistance.
Yeah.
Like
it's all about lowering that psychological barrier.
Yep. And it's the way we use embedded commands. Anyway, going on.
So the language pattern sounds like it's a big part of what you're doing and how you've been successful.
Yes.
Let's give some nuggets on, let's say people are in a social setting and maybe they've got friends around and they feel awkward asking for business. That's something we hear all the time. I feel awkward asking for business. So how would you say that they can approach that to where they don't have to feel weird asking?
Because it is awkward. In a social setting, it is awkward asking for business.
Yeah.
One, focus on the relationship first. So connect. So if you're at a networking event, for example, and I meet, everybody's like, we're always talking, give it all your business cards.
Yeah.
50 people, and get all the business cards you can, and then we have a stack of business cards. What do we do with them? We stack them on our desk, and they sit there for months and months and months.
And the stack just keeps
growing. We're like, I got to do something with that. And then by the time you decide I'm going to do something with them, you're like, I can't call them because they won't remember who I am. It's not what happens at the networking event, it's what happens after the event. And something as simple as a thank you note. Hey, it was great to meet you. Or a video, man, just text them. And you meet somebody, and I just shoot a quick video, and I say, hey, Oliver, Keven Ward here. It was so awesome to meet you yesterday at blah, 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 blah. Let's stay in touch. If I can help with anything, let me know. And it's not pressure. There's no pressure. So that's step one. And then I text it to them if I have their cell phone. If not, I email it to them. And video makes them memorable. Makes you totally, they'll never forget you.
Yeah, that's a great
And then 30 days later, you call them again.
So meet them at the event. Grab their info, connect, real connections, not let's grab as many business cards as we can and put them in our email so we can spam them for the next 6 years. That's definitely off the table.
If you take 3 people and you connect with 3 people, step one, connect. Step number 2 is position yourself as their go-to realtor. You have a great go-to realtor. If you don't know, say, hey, so whenever you run across somebody looking to buy or sell a house, do you have a great go-to realtor?
So that was my next question. Do you just straight out ask them that? How it sounds like becoming their go-to realtor is part of the process, right? You got to earn that trust, earn that credibility.
It is. So in the book of Yes, I have what I call the PC builder script.
Okay.
PC is your personal circle.
Oh, so I like that.
And I like it better. Database is data. Personal circle is personal.
And we'll put a link to that.
So so the book of Yes, I believe it's the best book ever on real estate sales, but that's just me. If it's not the best book they've ever read on real estate, I'll give you 100% of your money back. And I'm just,
buy the book, because what have you got to lose?
What do you got to lose? Here's the last thing that I was thinking of on this, is go after the client, not the deal. We always going after. When I got in, I'm like, I'm starving. I gotta have that deal right now so that because I'm going to help people when I got into business.
Yeah.
That was my motivation. I want to help people and make money doing it, which you can. But they're like, you got to get a listing. So I'm like, now it became all about chasing the next deal. So I'm after the listing, not the client. Right. So as soon as we got the listing, sold it, got the commission check, bye, and we're like abandoned clients.
Which is very common.
Which is totally common.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. If we go after the listing when they're resisting us because they know we're in it for ourselves. But if you go after the client, the relationship, and they know you want to serve their best interests and help them and let them know up front, hey, I want to do such a great job for you that you want to tell everybody you know about me that needs help from a real estate agent. Is it okay with you going in if you know that that's my goal? And they go like, well, yeah, I'm going to that your goal is to deliver such great service that I become your realtor for life. So they're like, totally. It raises the bar for them, raises the bar for me, and after the sale, the relationship's not over.
Are you getting 5 other referrals from every deal you're closing? And if not, what can you be doing differently? And it sounds like a lot of the answers are in Kevin's book, which I highly recommend and highly recommend that you read. Let me kind of jump into some nitty gritty real quick. Nuts and bolts, something that everyone wants to know, and this is stuff we get asked all the time, is how do I get more listings? How do I grow my business? What do I do to take my business to the next level?
So talk to people with the internet and social media and all that kind of stuff and our cell phones. Now it's all about how do we not talk to people.
Right.
We almost don't want to talk to them. Still the way you're going to win people's hearts, whether you're a guy and have a crush on a girl, the way you win their hearts is to talk to them. Is ultimately the way you inspire people to trust you and want to work with you is conversation. So talk to them. 2, talk to them sooner rather than later. The earlier you get on the radar, the better. Number 1. Number 2, I expect the appointment on the very first call. but I'm willing to talk to them as many times as I need to get it, as long as there's still a lead, as long as there's still a possibility of selling. And I always focus on what they want, not what you want.
So really appreciate all the feedback so far. It's been really insightful. One other thing that we get asked a lot from our agents and agents through social media and through the people we meet is just, how do I generate more leads more consistently? So why don't you shed some insight on how to generate more leads for your real estate business?
Yeah, great question. So one, generating a lead to me is, a lead means if you follow it, it's going to go somewhere.
Yes.
Otherwise, not a lead.
Correct.
Right. So lead generation, the best lead generation strategies out there, still are for sale banners and expires, are the best to build a listing business, which is the best way to build your business. It gives you control of your.
And why is that?
Well, you control the inventory, so you control your time. Here's the way I looked at it. Every time I took a listing, I hired 2,000 other agents in my market to work for me on the weekends.
Right.
And I didn't work on weekends. If I did open houses, I did them on Thursday and Friday. Open houses is another way to generate leads, but we do it all wrong. If you just go and open the house, then you're attracting buyers. The best way to do an open house is you do the open house, but we actually go knock 100 or 200 doors around it, all the homeowners in the area, and say, hey, we're doing this, and it's an invitation.
Invite them over.
And invite them over. And we actually, I teach agents to actually have a 30-minute or a 1-hour open house neighborhood only preview.
Ooh, I like
and we're going to have refreshments. The owners are going to be there for that. And come on by, take a look at what they've done to the house. They're staging it. They, a lot of them are friends. And so they come and they walk over there, and there's all this buzz. And then as the buyers walk in, they're seeing all these people in there, and they're going like, man, I don't know what's going on here, but this is like a big deal. The thing is now you're talking to homeowners. In the book of Yes, I teach them more strategies on how to do the invite in a way that gets people thinking. That's my go-to agent, because you're the one making all that happen.
The whole doing it in advance, 30 minutes prior to have all the homeowners show up in the area is brilliant. Not only that though, imagine showing up to an open house when it starts on time and there's already 50 people there.
Oh,
there's already 40
huge.
people, right?
And by the way, social media, Facebook marketing, one of the best ways to use Facebook marketing is inviting people to an open house. And this is a Facebook marketing strategy that's a little more in depth. But because of Facebook, what they know about us is you can actually geo-target a zip code. You can zip right into the group. And so you can invite people and say, hey, check us out. You've got pictures of the house, open house coming, new home on the market coming soon. Come see the open house this Saturday from 1 to 4 or whatever, and then put 3 or 4 pictures, and then target it, and then you promote that, and you can target groups. And what we've discovered through split testing, and I've got coaching members that are doing this, and they're having like on average 40 or 50 people coming through a 1 hour or 90-minute open house.
So you better listen up right now.
This is cool because they're putting it on the market on Thursday. They're not allowing showings until the open house is on Saturday. So they won't allow the realtors to show it or anybody to show it and say seller's house will not be ready to show until Saturday at 1. So now all the showings are coming in. The real buyers, while all the open house people come in through, they market the open house with this Facebook post with all the pictures, and people like pictures. They don't like to be sold, but they love pictures of nice houses. And then they boost it, and they boost it to women only in this zip code, to women only between like ages 25 to 65. And they boost it to, and women share it with all their friends, they share it with their husband, and so it gets this huge traction. And then they have signs all over the neighborhood. They have these big, the feather signs, you see the feather signs? Yeah. So they use the feather signs instead of the little metal signs, and they create a party. And it becomes a mini block party, and they'll have 40, 50 people come through.
There's a lot of psychology there too, right? Like if you show up to them, it's one of those things where once you see someone else has something, now all of a sudden you want it. Now all of a sudden, maybe I didn't like that house that much, but these 50 other people in here, I've got to beat them, and I've got to get up.
They don't know who's a buyer and who's not a buyer. There may be only one buyer walk in, but they think all 50 of these people are, I'm competing against 50 people.
I better bring a high offer, and I better do it quick.
And now, and so it's crazy. If you learn how to use social media right, the thing about social media, Mark Zuckerberg is the perfect model of how to use social media. Mark Zuckerberg has the largest database in the world. We talk about building your business.
By a long shot.
He has the largest in the world. He did not monetize it for 7 years. Now, what's the lesson for that? For me? Build a relationship before you start trying to close the deal.
Covered a lot today. If you want to get more of Keven, which I highly suggest you do, go check out yesmasters.com. He's got a ton of great stuff over there. Definitely go pick yourself up a copy of the book. Do it on Amazon and leave him a review, because I'm sure he would appreciate that. And we'll see you next time. Now you're in the know.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Keven.
Great talking to you, man. Absolutely.